The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking Daniel Craig's last outing as Bond, No Time to Die. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. Today, we're talking about Daniel Craig's last outing as James Bond 007 in No Time to Die. And I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds, the frustrated producer of the show. Welcome, Matthew Kadish.
You know, for a movie called No Time to Die, there was a lot of dying going on in this movie.
Of, like,
Spoiler!
I feel like it was false advertising in a way.
It was like the perfect time to die. The ambassador of estrogen, Jude, welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I was just
I know.
licking chocolate off of my thumb.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Hello.
And the barbarian space Viking himself, Matt Vader, 74, who's cleaning his teeth. Welcome, sir.
Jude brought stuff.
Snacks.
I made
We've got
charcuterie.
snacks.
And I gotta get it out of my teeth, man.
Okay.
Are we drinking this too? What?
We're going to be
it's
sipping
just-
on some
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
All right, guys. So this is how it's going to go. The first 10 minutes or so is going to be more or less spoiler free, where we're going to talk about this publicly. But then the second half of this review is going to be heavy spoilers. It's members only. So if you want to get the whole version of this, you got to go to saltynerdclub.com, sign up to become a member, and then you can get part of this as your exclusive deal, where we just obliterate this movie in salt. So head over there and join the club and help support us. But before we get into it, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. All right. James Bond, No Time to Die. Jude, take it away. What is this movie all about?
All right. No Time to Die. 2021, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 43 minutes. This movie is insanely long.
It really is.
Had a budget of $250 million. What do you think this brought in?
It's a pandemic casualty, correct? I think. Because it came out like a year and a half after it was supposed to. And people still were, I don't know, maybe 250 million worldwide.
Made its budget back. That's what you think?
Yeah.
I'll
V?
go with that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm trying to help you.
I know you are. 300 million.
$765
Wow.
million
Wow.
worldwide.
All right. Cool. Good.
Dang, good for it.
Good.
It's a trooper.
Would you like to know what it's about?
I would. I'm dying to know what it's about.
Are you?
Pun intended.
There's no time for that, Alex.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So, the sequel to SPECTRE that no one told me about opens with young Madeline and her piece of shit mother, whom I aspire to be someday. Freddie Mercury comes over for some murder, but then changes his mind and saves young Madeline from drowning. Flash forward 15 years, Madeline and Mr. Bond are enjoying a peaceful life in Jamaica when suddenly chaos pulls James back in. He puts Madeline on a train, intending to never see her again. 5 years later, their paths intersect when the man who saved her all those years ago comes back to claim the prize he let go of and release a biological weapon of mass destruction upon the world. James must rescue the girl, the daughter he never knew he had, and the world from Mr. Robot. Who can he rely on to have his back? Good thing there's another 007, and she's out to prove she is man enough for the job.
Nice. All right. So,
Before we get going,
yeah.
I just want to apologize to Jude because I did not know how much of a direct sequel to Spectre this was. Like typically James Bond films all stand on their own,
Right.
But for whatever reason, like if you hadn't seen Spectre, you were
no
kind of
idea.
lost when you were watching
I
this
was
movie.
a bit lost when I
Yeah.
watched this.
You pulled a me. And
Yes,
you
I
watched
did. I
the
did.
sequel before the original.
And you gave me a lot of shit yesterday at our Christmas party for watching the sequel before I watched the first one, and it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, and this shouldn't have been her introduction to Craig Bond.
No, it definitely shouldn't
you
have
know,
been.
Yeah.
but unfortunately it was. And
I've been attacked.
yeah, I forget that Jude, before we started doing the podcast, had never watched a James Bond movie before.
That's crazy.
Not a one.
And so like I would have liked to have eased her into this one. Like I hadn't seen it before, so I didn't know what this movie was going to entail. Had I known, I'd have probably asked us to do
I
a
really
different
wish
movie.
you'd at
We
least
should have
spit on
done-
it first.
God damn. What we should have done is we should have done a Bond week where it was Casino Royale, Spectre, and then this one. Like it would be the beginning, middle, and end of Craig's run. And that would have, I think, made a whole lot more sense for you.
Yeah, I feel like that would have made me enjoy this more.
For sure. Yeah, I think. But since we haven't really talked about Craig as Bond, I wanted to get everybody's general consensus. Jude, you're going to be an outlier on this one, but Vader, Craig has been Bond for close to 10 years now,
since 2000,
since the early 2000s,
right?
Yeah, something. So what is your general thoughts on Craig?
I actually really like Craig as James Bond,
Okay.
but for some reason I find all of his movies kind of forgettable.
Well, you said the same thing about Brosnan's Bond, too.
I don't know. I think these movies are just formula movies anymore at this point. I feel like I watch the same movie every time a Bond movie comes
How many Bond movies are there total?
Like 60,000. I mean, it has all the things you want in a Bond movie, but at the same time, all those things that we want in a Bond movie make those movies the same movie we watched already.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we watch this movie with Daniel Craig, we watch this movie at some point with Pierce Brosnan or Roger Moore or somebody, and it's just, I don't know. Where were they at in the beginning of this movie?
Jamaica.
That's Jamaica.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not Jamaica. That's like Italy or something.
No, they were in Spain, I think.
Spain. I mean, beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. Don't get me wrong.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
I mean, and everything that they did in this movie is fun and very James Bond. But there's just, I don't know, man. I think I feel like I'm kind of at the same place with Bond movies as I am with like the MCU. Mm. You know what I mean? It's just kind of whatever.
There's nothing new, really.
Nothing. Okay. Yeah. It's like fast cars, hot women, secret base, big evil villain. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, well, that's enough for me. But Kadish, I know you're not a huge fan of Craig's Bond. So what's your general thought on him as Bond and his reign over the last 10 years or so?
I've never been a big fan of the blonde Bond. Daniel Craig, he's a fine actor, but he never, like, his Bond was always a lot more kind of like rough around the edges. I always liked how Brosnan was like, the smooth, like debonair, suave James Bond. And Daniel Craig was a lot more kind of like rough and tumble. And it's interesting because like his first movie, Casino Royale, it was kind of a reboot of the Bond franchise. And this is his last movie as Bond. And basically like his run as Bond is a complete run. It shows how he became 007 in Casino Royale to the point where, he basically exits the role in this movie. And that's unique in the Bond franchise because normally it's just like plug and play. Like once one guy's done, you put in another guy and, all the characters are the same and they just kind of keep on keeping on. And with Craig's thing, it was a little bit different, which I can respect. But at the same time, I found his movies incredibly boring. There hasn't been a single Bond movie of his that I didn't fall asleep in the theater watching because they are very slow. Like this one, almost 3 hours long.
Yeah,
it's
it's
way
crazy.
too long. And also, like the weird thing about this one is the fact that it was a direct sequel to Spectre, which I think was probably like the worst Bond movie of his run. And there's even stuff that ties into like Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace and what was the other one he did? Skyfall. So like there is a complete story being told, but I was surprised at how much of if you hadn't watched Spectre before you watched this movie, you'd be lost on a lot of stuff.
There's a whole lot of connective tissue with his movies.
I didn't know it was a direct sequel because I watched Spectre a long time ago and I didn't watch it before I watched this. So, and like I said, back then I was probably checked out then because I didn't remember a ton about it.
You're not much of a Bond guy, though.
I don't think I am.
Yeah.
No, not really.
So these movies aren't necessarily like your thing. You don't get excited about Bond movies. You watch them because they're cool, but that's about it. Okay. For me, I am a huge Daniel Craig Bond fan. I fell in love with him as Bond in Casino Royale, and I've been along for the ride through all of his movies. I've enjoyed them for the most part. They do vary in quality, of course, and you guys make some legitimate criticism about the length of time and how some of them are slower than others. I get it, but when Casino Royale came out and I watched him as Bond, I was blown away because I'm a Brosnan Bond guy, and those are super cheesy, like lots of cheese in those movies. So when he came in and did Casino Royale, he kind of set a new tone, which was very gritty. It felt like more of like a Christopher Nolan style.
Yeah, the action movies.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in. And I went along for the ride. And I thought I really enjoy him as Bond. And I went to go see this movie in theaters. A friend of mine rented out an entire theater for us. We had like a private showing. I had a ton of fun watching it. I was very mixed with how this movie kind of went, whether or not I liked it or not. I was very surprised at some of the things that they did in this movie. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if I liked that or not. But upon second viewing, watching it for the podcast, I kind of wrapped my head around the whole concept, like Katie said, about have it being a complete story for one Bond. Like, this is completely new. We've never done this before. It's usually, like you said, plug and play. With this one, it was like, no, this is Craig's little sphere. Boom. There you go. There's a whole story right there. Sorry. And I kind of respected that. I was like, okay, I get it. You know, the first time I saw it, I didn't like it. But after I watched it the second time, I was like, okay, I get what they're going for.
Yeah, but now what do we do for the next one?
We start over again.
Yeah, but, you know, Can we get into spoilers a little bit?
Oh, maybe a little bit. As long as you're not
in a bit.
Yeah, in a bit.
I'm
we'll
really curious how they're going to reboot, because
it's a legitimate question.
I don't know.
I mean, they're definitely going to. It's a huge property, which I think Amazon owns the MGM logo.
But
now, right?
but
Yeah,
see, the problem they have now is they have to start over.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They never had to do that before. They just moved on.
interesting thing now is that Amazon bought MGM, which was the home of Bond. They own the rights to it. So now Amazon owns James Bond, which means that they can now turn it into an original series if they wanted to.
Oh,
They could continue doing movies. They could do spin-offs, like all the stuff that MGM wasn't able to do.
I don't want a Bond universe. I just want a
Oh,
Bond. I just want a Bond movie.
You're going to get it.
But
I don't want. I'm tired of that shit.
But
though.
I mean, like you could get like a 006 or a 005.
I don't
Yeah,
fucking
or
care.
something
I don't
like that.
care about 006 and 0012 and 003. I want James Bond movies. I don't want to go watch the adventures of R2 and 3PO any more than I want to see adventures of the.
You never liked the Droids cartoon?
No, it's fucking dumb. but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Some
get it.
properties can stand on their own 2 feet without having to have a universe built around
So
them.
you don't want them to marvel
No,
the James
I
Bond.
absolutely do not.
I get it. Okay.
I don't want them to do it the Lord of the Rings or Bond or any of this shit. Just give us a fucking movie every 3 years.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm getting mad now.
You are. I don't know why you're getting
And
so mad.
it's
You're
just-
not even a
it's
fan
annoying.
of these movies.
It's annoying.
Okay. So
They're gonna make new movies instead of making universes that are shitty and poorly put together.
Well, I mean, like we don't know that that's what.
Well,
they're
still,
going to do,
that's we
but
know
the
that's what
potential
they're
is-
trying
is
to
there.
do. Let's get out of here.
So tell me, what this movie in particular, non-spoilers, what did you think? Did you like it or not?
Yeah, it was all right.
It was all
It
right.
was too long. It had all the Bond check marks. Yeah, it was fine.
Okay.
I didn't know who anybody was. You know,
What do you mean?
it's just everything looked goofy to me. It was weird.
Because Moneypenny
weird.
wasn't the one you fell in love with.
You know, yeah. It's just like,
He's
Yeah.
like hashtag not my money penny.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not my Moneypenny.
Okay.
I just, it was whatever.
So Jude, as a newcomer to the Craig Bond movies, what did you think about this?
Well, I feel like I'm a newcomer to Bond in general
Right.
because the first ones that I watched was for the podcast, and that wasn't that long ago. I think it was like a year ago we started watching Bond with Sean Connery, and then we jumped to Pierce Brosnan, and then we jumped to this. So I feel a bit out of my element talking about like what I liked and what I didn't like, because I don't feel like I am the person to say that.
Okay.
Okay, so what, given the knowledge that I have the Sean Connerys, I have the Pierce Brosnans, and this is the only Craig that I have. But given the knowledge that I have, I genuinely liked it as a movie. It's way too fucking long. I liked it as a movie. I don't think I liked it as a Bond movie, though. But I don't know if I have the right to say that, because I haven't watched all of them, and I'm not like a lifelong lover of Bond films.
You're surprisingly close to my own feelings.
My biggest fault with all of these movies, and it starts with Casino Royale. It doesn't feel like a Bond movie.
You don't think so?
No, there's too much action. There's too many people flipping off balconies and shit. It feels more like just a whatever. You know, it's just I don't know.
Okay. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Kadish, what are your thoughts on this movie in particular?
I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought the set pieces were all really well done. the connective tissue to the other Craig movies was there. Like, when he goes to visit the grave of Eva Green's character from Casino Royale at the beginning. Like, I was like, oh, that's an interesting nod. Felix Leiter is back, or I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
The CIA guy who's been in, I think, 2 other Bond films.
Well, he's been in all of Craig's. He was in Casino Royale all the way through.
Well, yeah, he was in Casino Royale, and he was in
Quantum of Solace. I don't know if he was in Skyfall or not.
No, those are the only 2 other movies that he was in.
Okay.
Q and Moneypenny and all this stuff. Like, basically, if you've watched every Craig Bond film, like, this movie kind of pays off all the threads that have been set up throughout his run, which is pretty impressive. The guy who directed this movie is Cary Joji Fukunaga. I'm sorry. He's the guy who basically did True Detective on HBO.
Okay.
And he came in, and basically Danny Boyle was originally supposed to direct this movie of Train Spotting and Slumdog Millionaire and stuff like that, 28 Days Later. But for whatever reason, he had creative differences with the producers, and he left kind of late on in the production. And then Fukunaga...
Boy, are you butchering
Yeah,
this.
it's really bad.
Hey,
gonna
the
look it up
Destroyer
right
of
now.
Names is back.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get this right. So Cary Fukunaga stepped in, and he's a very talented filmmaker, and he kind of took over the reins on this, and I think he did a very good job. I liked Rami Malek as the villain. This is basically the first Sean Connery movie, Dr. No. They took the kind of initial concept of that movie and morphed it into what this became.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Rami Malek does play like basically Dr.
He's
No.
basically Dr.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I got.
And in fact, in Spectre, when we meet Madeline for the first time, she tells a story about how when she was like a little girl, someone showed up and tried to kill her. And then in this movie, you actually get to see that happen and like what the fallout of that
Well, that
was and
sounds
stuff
good.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like if we had watched Spectre before we watched, even though I think Spectre is like the worst Bond film that Craig did, like I did not like Spectre at all.
How long is it?
It's probably like 3 hours.
all of his movies are like super long, but
You know what?
I don't.
Pass.
It's weird because I don't mind that. I didn't really know how long this movie was. I was just along for the ride. When you guys said it was close to 3 hours, I was like, really? Holy shit!
Yeah,
Like-
this took us 2 days to watch.
I had no idea because I watched this 3 times before the podcast this week.
Get
I
out
bought
of here.
I bought it on Amazon because you can't rent it right now. It's only for purchase. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy the shit out of this thing. I freaking bought it for like $20 or whatever it was for the digital download. It's on my phone right now. I freaking had a blast with this movie. I mean, I really like Daniel Craig as Bond and his whole run. I'm on board. Like the runtime doesn't bother me that much because I'm having so much fun that it doesn't seem like it's that long for me.
I really like it when you enjoy things, Alex.
I'm so glad.
However, I don't understand you.
I know.
Yeah. Well, the culmination in this movie, so like Spectre, which was introduced in Casino Royale, and it's been kind of in the background of all of the Craig Bond movies. The resolution of what happens to that organization and Blofeld and all of this other stuff kind of comes to a head in this movie. So I could appreciate how like this movie kind of brought like the whole Craig arc to an end. But one of the things I found interesting was that so Daniel Craig had gotten really injured when he was doing some stunts on Spectre. And so his wife, I don't know, do you guys know who his wife is?
No, I don't.
It's Rachel Weisz.
No way.
way.
Yeah,
Wow.
he-
Good
he-
for him.
Yeah,
God
he's
damn.
married to Rachel Weisz. And she was like hard on him, was like, don't do your own stunts. Don't do your own stunts. So like he kind of took a step back from doing the stunt work in this movie. Which I think, Craig, when he shot this, he was like 51 years old. Like that's old to be doing Bond stuff.
That's
you know?
my age, man.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to be doing that stuff.
Yeah. So like, like they used a lot more stunt doubles for Craig because like I think in the previous movies he was doing a lot of his own stunts. I think this was a good way for him to go out as Bond.
Okay. All right, guys. For the continuation of this wonderful discussion, and I'm going to fight you guys about how good this movie is, join the club. Go to saltynerdclub.com, and you guys will get 4 exclusive podcasts every single month. That includes movies, and then in 2022, we're doing Legacy Sci-Fi, which is Stargate, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Farscape, probably Firefly, things like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join the club. It's only $5 a month if you want to get into the ground level. $5 a month will get you access to all of that. And if you want to join our $30 tier, That will give you access to a hat for the month of December. There's only 50 slots open, so make sure you're getting into that. And you can help support us so that we can do this full time and make awesome content for you guys to check out. But that's it. Vader, where can they find you on the socials, bud, before we get over to the members only area?
You can find me at MattVader74 on the Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Okay. Jude, where can they find you?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and check out our Facebook page, the Salty Nerd Podcast on Facebook.
Excellent. And Matthew Kadish.
Yeah, we've actually got close to 100 members in our Facebook group now, so
Nice.
it's growing.
Good job,
So
guys.
you can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter. KadishBooks.com takes you to my Amazon page if you want to check out my novels. And I just want to point out real quick, this new poster I have hanging in the background. It is from filmmaker Lynn Kawasinski, and it's called Pact of Vengeance. This is his latest movie. I helped fund it on Indiegogo, which is why he sent me a fully autographed poster. So I just wanted to give Lynn Kawasinski a big shout out, big fan. Love your work. Keep it up. And for those of you out there who want to find out more about Lynn and his work, you can find him under Killer Wolf Films on Twitter at Killer Wolf Films.
You can also find him on Instagram.
Yeah, and Instagram. He's all over the place. But he's a wonderful guy. And I highly recommend you check him out and consider supporting his future filmmaking endeavors.
Nice. Real smooth.
He's a good martial artist, too.
He's got great hair.
He does have good hair.
Yeah.
I have great hair too. I am the Salty Nerd. You guys can catch me on our Discord app. Go to saltynerd.discord.com and come chat with us about all the movies and TV shows that we talk about on the podcast, and help support us and join the community. It's a great place to be. All right, guys, we're going to move over to our members only. So, as always, stay salty.